East Idaho Newsmakers is brought to you by the Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.
This is East Idaho Newsmakers with Nate Eaton.
Welcome to East Idaho Newsmakers. I'm Nate Eaton. Today we are talking with Chris and Julia Marcum. They are behind the website Chris Loves Julia. They live in Rexburg. The Marcums live in Rexburg. Born and raised you were, Chris, right?
Raised since I was 5.
Raised since you were 5, and you moved here from Pittsburgh.
When I was 18.
18,
Mm-hmm.
but you call Rexburg home.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
So for those people that have never heard of Chris Loves Julia, it's not really a love website. You're not professing love.
It's not a love website.
It's very combative.
Yeah. What is it?
So we write about renovating our house and give lots of tips on how other people can improve their homes. It didn't start out as that. A lot of times after people get married, well, at least they used to, when we got married, a lot of people started blogs to kind of share with their family what they were doing or just keep a record of, newlywed life. And I was transitioning from being a working college student to, I was pregnant with our first daughter, to kind of being a stay-at-home mom. And I just started the blog, Chris Loves Julia, as an outlet, basically. And eventually I started fixing up our little basement apartment that we were living in. And when we bought our first house, we started renovating it. It was a fixer-upper, definitely. It was what we could afford at the time. And now we're on that was down in Utah, and now we live in Rexburg. We bought another home. We've been renovating it for the past 4 years and just kind of sharing our story and the renovation process and inspiring a lot of others along the way.
So you did originally start it as a traditional type blog of
Yes.
Here's what's going on in our lives.
Yes.
At what point do you all decide, hey, maybe we should, talk about how we're going to fix up the bathroom or do the kitchen?
I think it sprung out of passion, really.
Yeah, I think Jules is a very creative person. I am always trying to keep up with everything that she's wanting to do. And it was just this natural thing that started to happen. She was in the home all day, and it was a basement apartment. It was pretty dark. And so she wanted to, lighten things up. And so she did different things with our decor in there. And we asked our landlord if we could paint. And our first time painting an apartment, we forgot to mix the paint up, and so it was really blotchy. All of our projects.
Which I'm sure is a common mistake for a lot of first-time painters.
And you know what? And that's really what our site is about. It's not about we're experts. It's about these are two people sharing our renovation story. And although it started out as, a blog, Chris Loves Julia, a very sweet newlywed blog, we now say it's called Chris Loves Julia because he loves me so much.
I love her much more than renovating, we'll say that.
That he does all these projects.
Put up with this for 4 years
Yeah.
or whatever.
And so it really, really took off when we bought our first house, and it's just grown.
This was the home down in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So you bought a fixer-upper, and at that point, any idea how many people were following your blog or clicking on the site?
We had about 30,000.
Well, that was when we left from Utah. When we first bought our home there, I don't know, maybe 100 or so. Yeah,
So it
not
was a
very
small
many.
audience.
So our friends and family.
Friends and family. And at what point do you realize that this is growing? This is turning into something?
I think it was when we decided we wanted to become a niche blog, or we wanted to write about home decor and renovating and fixing up a house. It was when we really focused on that we started seeing a lot of other people that were also interested in fixing up their house, or just people that loved homes. And that's what we always say about ourselves. We're home lovers. We just love home. We love being home. We love decorating our home. We love fixing it up. And seeing all those other people that were interested in that too, that's when we kind of realized, hey, this is becoming something.
And then how do you take it to the next level to get the word out?
So my background, before quitting my job, I worked traditional 8 to 5 job doing marketing, online marketing specifically. And that was the big question that we always had. And it was actually the blog that taught me the focus is on the person that you're talking to. It's not on the other person that you don't have yet. And as long as you're focusing on the audience and giving them something that they can connect with, they will go and share it. And all of our growth with everything has been completely organic, just word of mouth. And we've never asked anybody to follow us. And it's kind of cool that the people who are following us are actually there because they want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would imagine a lot of first-timers think, okay, I've got to get on Oprah, or I've got to have advertisements, and I've got to do this, this, and this to spread the word. Whereas even with East Idaho News, we have found just do
what you love.
Do what you love, and people will come.
Yeah.
People will follow.
We do some guest lecturing at BYU Idaho. When we went to school there wasn't a blogging class. Now there are 2. And something that we always encourage others that are trying to start a website, trying to start a blog, they're one of the first questions is like, how can you write about something every day? Because we put out content 5 days a week, and we've been doing it for 9 years now.
You do every day.
Every day. And my answer is always, you need to make sure you're writing about something you're passionate about, because then it doesn't feel hard. It comes naturally, and the people will notice and sense your excitement and passion about that, and I think that will attract more people.
You both write?
I do most of the writing.
Yeah, probably like 99% of the writing. Yeah, I wrote one this week, so that was good.
And do you plan out the month?
Yeah.
You plan it out,
We
and
plan
so
out the month.
you can schedule your post.
And I will say, although I do a lot of the writing and I do a lot of the designing of what a space is going to look like, Chris is he does almost all of the actual work.
The building and
It's
renovating.
a DIY blog.
You're
Yeah.
doing the fix-ups.
Yeah.
He's
You're
doing a lot of
Were
the
you a
DIY.
handyman before?
My dad, when I was growing up, I'm the youngest of 8 kids, 7 of which are boys, and I think my dad always just needed to have a way to keep us in line during those long summers. So he would buy a plot of land and design a house, and we would all build it. He would just teach us how to build a house, and so I learned
Every
that way.
summer?
Yeah, and he would pay. That was like our summer job, and he would pay us. It probably shaked out to maybe 4 cents an hour or something. But the life lessons, those are paying dividends.
Well, look, it's paid off now.
I know.
So you knew that when you all got married, that he had fixed.
Really?
He didn't.
Oh,
No,
really?
Yeah.
Not
It was.
really.
I hated it. Honestly, I didn't like it. But
And he
Well,
didn't know.
yeah,
he didn't know that I was so into renovating either.
Yeah.
no, I don't
I was
even
an
know if
art
you knew it.
major.
Yeah. I
But
don't
you
even know
knew?
if you
Did
did.
you know he was a handyman, that he could do this type of stuff?
I did not know that. I grew like my dad was always really handy, and so I always just kind of thought, every guy knew how to do.
I don't.
And you know what? There are many, many projects that we have tackled over these 9 years that we didn't know how to do.
Google's your best friend.
Google, YouTube, totally. We are very open about that. We're not experts. This is us figuring it out.
Which I think people appreciate more, authentic realness.
Yeah.
So you moved to Rexburg. Why did you decide to move up here?
A job opportunity for me. So yeah, that was still when I was, in the workforce, and my brother has a company there in Rexburg, and it was actually his business partner who hired me to take over their marketing.
You come up here, did you buy another fixer-upper?
Yeah.
Well, a little bit. It was in, decent shape, but just outdated.
Outdated.
Knowing that, 1, you're going to fix it up, and 2, you're going to blog about it?
Mm-hmm. When we purchased our first home in Utah, we were more open to the idea of let's just buy a house. But we couldn't afford a new home, and we were hesitant about buying a townhome that was new. And so basically our budget kind of locked us into the fixer-upper category. And when we sold that house 2 years later for a $50,000 profit, we were like, hey,
There's
let's
something
buy
here.
another fixer-upper.
$50,000. And you went into it knowing you were going to make some. Did you turn the whole house around?
We did a lot of budget updates.
You didn't spend 50 grand up.
We did not
Yeah.
spend $50,000, and we updated some carpeting, we updated a lot of paint, we added some IKEA built-ins, we painted our kitchen cabinets, added new hardware, really honestly simple budget-friendly things that really improved the house. And so when we were moving to Rexburg, it was like no contest. Like, of course we're gonna buy another fixer-upper. And although it wasn't our livelihood then like it is now, we could see the potential of that. And the blog had already been going for so many years that it just felt like, let's keep doing this.
At what point did it really go to a new level, the website?
It's been pretty gradual.
Honestly, Instagram wasn't around when we first started our website, and I think that was a big...
Instagram, our growth on Instagram, I think that marked the intentional, like, we're going to grow this as a business and see what it can become. Because she was doing Instagram for fun, you know, a little bit, and had a few thousand followers, but then decided a couple of years ago, I'm going to just do this as good as I can. I'm going to, you know, take pictures with my real camera. I'm going to, you know, take out all of this external, you know, the stuff that a lot of people put in their personal accounts, you know, my kids going to ballet and things. That wasn't why people were following us.
People were following to see the house stuff.
So you were doing everything like a normal person might do, and you said, forget, we're just going to really focus on our niche. And that's when it took off.
And that really is when it took off. And we've had so many opportunities with big brands that have also really helped us. I would say our first big break, which really helped us in the rest of our DIY, was we won a contest with a hardware store that I think, was it $1,500?
Yeah, it's $1,500.
We got $1,500 and we bought tools.
It was $1,500 gift card, so we had to use it at the hardware store, but we just bought tools.
Yeah, and we bought tools, and those tools helped us complete so many projects. And I feel like without winning that contest, we were just newlyweds with like no tools at all.
And no money.
And no money. And so I love giving newlyweds a drill for their wedding. I'm like, this is the key to everything.
That is cool. That is great. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about why you have turned down television shows, your own shows, some of the partnerships that you've had, also some of your most popular posts, and what's next. Right back with the Marcums.
At the Bank of Commerce, we understand the hard work, determination, and sacrifice it takes to run a successful business. That's why we're here every step of the way to help make your dreams come true. The Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.
Thanks for joining us today. As we said before the break, we are with Chris and Julia Marcum. They run the website chrislovesjulia.com. It is a fixer-upper home improvement type site that has gotten you quite a bit of exposure over the years. And you've had opportunities to maybe take this to the next level. My wife loves the fixer-upper Property Brothers types shows, which you guys, I look at you and think you'd be perfect for. So why aren't you there? Why aren't you on TV?
We get offers every week, multiple every week. It's just not for us. And I think right now they're trying really, really hard to find the next Chip and Joanna. And
Whoever they do, I feel bad for that person because
Chip and Joanna.
they'll be seen as trying to replace Chip and Joanna.
But why is it not for you?
I think it's not for us right now in our lives because we have young children, and also I don't want to be seen as an expert. I don't feel like we're experts, and I love the community that we've created online. I think that there's so many things in the world that are causing controversy and causing arguments, and we love that our website is a place where people feel safe, that everyone can agree that home decor is like nothing controversial about it. And I like that space that we're in right now. I like that people can come, and we have such a large community, and I feel like I like connecting with people in that way.
And TV is, I mean, it can be rough because it's a passive relationship where, whereas what we do, we're actually able to engage quite a lot with our followers.
Online's where it's at, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For us.
For us.
Well, for us too. So do you worry too, maybe doing a television show, you might lose some control?
I think we'll lose control, and we've been through quite an extent. We've gone pretty far in the process before we decided no, to the point where they were ready to film our pilot, and like you said, we lose a lot of control, and I feel like we lose a lot of our vision and a lot of our voice. Whereas if you run the show, I feel like right now we're at the top. Why give it all away to buy into someone else's vision for what they want us to be?
That's impressive, because a lot of people would look at the dollar signs and the fame and whatnot and think, yeah, let's do it. The fact that you're able to, stay true to who you are and what you're doing.
And that's been something that we have had to learn over and over during the 9 years that we've been bloggers. And professional blogger is a relatively new occupation, and something that we learn and we preach, especially to the classes that we guest lecture in, is there will always be someone that wants to buy your integrity from you. And we've seen this, not in necessarily a mischievous way or anything like that, but when someone comes to us, we have a lot of sponsors, and when someone comes to us that's not in our niche necessarily, like let's say a shoe company, they want to come and advertise and have us write a post about their shoes. And they want to pay us a lot of money. And we decided early on that we are going to stick in our niche no matter who's going to pay us what. We are writing about homes and DIY and design and decor. And if you don't fit in that niche, then no thank you. And
has that been hard?
at first it really was.
Someone wants to send you clothes.
Because I love clothes, I love shoes, but I think it's really added to our growth.
And I think the one thing that we've tried to focus, and I talked about it earlier, is just focusing on the person that you're talking to and providing them
Our
sort of
audience.
value. We see a lot of influencers, bloggers who they get caught in this cycle of chasing the dollar and trying to just grow their pocketbook, and that's a very difficult place to be in, because nobody has a chance to get to know you and what you stand for and what it is that you're talking about. And so building an audience that way is actually much more difficult. When you focus on a niche and focus on a message, then the money and everything like that figures itself out, as long as you focus on the integrity of the messaging.
When we launched East Idaho News, I was told, focus on a good product and the money will follow. If you focus on money and you have a crappy product, it won't get good. If you focus on building the product, the money comes. But there's also a lot of people out there that have started DIY blogs, that have started websites, that have done exactly what you're doing, and they have 10 followers. What do you think is your key? What's the key to your success?
What's the key to our success? Consistent quality content. Like I said, we've been doing this every day for almost the last 9 years. Even when it didn't make sense to do it, even when we weren't making money doing it, even when I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning to make sure my post was scheduled for the next day. And
I was working full time and would come home and we would just start on projects all evening long. You know, those are hard times where you're not really sure what you're actually working for because nothing is happening.
Chris, at what point did you think, okay, I can quit my job?
You know, that was for many years. I mean, when we would go and even speaking at this class, I would tell everybody, this is not my goal. Like, I have other career goals. And we were talking with some other friends who do this professionally, and Jules said, you know, we've talked back and forth about Chris quitting his job, and what they said to us was, if you are talking about it, you probably could have done it a year ago. And so I started thinking about, well, if this doesn't fit within my goals, then what are my actual goals? And I realized that a lot of the goals that I had were actually not even mine. You know, they were just kind of traditional career goals that, you know, we all have to climb the corporate ladder. And, you know, I was doing very well professionally, but when we started examining this a little bit more, I found that my actual goals, I wanted to spend more time with my kids and to be able to just make a living. You know, we didn't even know what that would look like. And we found that, you know, we were at a point where we had saved up some money and we were just gonna tackle it. We were just gonna do it.
Do you remember what I said to you?
Oh, you said if you, we don't really know what this can be, and as long as we're doing two things, you know, this and as well as Chris's career, we never will know. And she was okay with that, and she, you know, that she was just saying that, and but that hit me. I was saying, you know, yeah, we'll never really know what this is until we actually
go all in.
Go all in.
And how long ago did you quit your job?
That was 2 years ago, coming up on.
And did you see?
It exploded.
It happened very quickly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when being able to focus and put out more content, and for me to be there to spend more time on actually doing the projects and getting them done and doing them a little bit better than I had been even.
And for the first time since starting this, we weren't always DIYing after the sun went down and after our girls went to bed. It was nice and weird to wake up in the morning and think, okay, what project are we going to do today?
You're making your money from sponsors and ads on your site, and are those kind of the two main revenue?
There's sponsors, ads, and then what's called affiliate marketing, which is where we basically have a link and we find products that we like and we use, and then we share it online with a special link. And so if somebody uses that link and buys it, we get a little commission.
Do you foresee a book?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot of those kind of books out there.
Yeah, there are.
I feel like
They could probably take your posts. And
Yeah,
make a
just
book.
export them.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe a book is a possibility. What the book would be about is something I haven't thought much about. So many things have changed and evolved since we started this that I try not to predict too much into the future. We have a lot of great things coming up. We launched a furniture line last year, and we have another secret line I can't really talk about yet coming up.
There's a tease.
And these are things that just are presented to us that we say, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's do it. And a book hasn't come up yet, and so I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
What's been your most popular post?
You know, honestly, it's so silly.
It's so silly.
Back in Utah, she did a post where she had these little plastic pears, and she got 4 different cans of gold spray paint, and she spray painted each of the pears a different color.
And it was just basically a comparison post of gold spray paint. That's our most popular post.
It's huge. It's huge. And now we see okay, we just did a kitchen in 3 days.
And I mean, there are-
it's not even getting as many people as this pair post.
And we do have really popular projects, but that's our most popular post.
Yeah.
Do you worry you'll run out of projects? Are you doing all these projects in your own home?
The majority of them we are doing in our own home.
In your own house.
We have.
That's why we bought a cabin in the Palisades.
So you bought another cabin to do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought an A-frame cabin in the Palisades, right overlooking the reservoir. We just closed on it a couple months ago, and so we have our master bathroom to finish in our home, and then our house will be completely renovated.
Your Rexburg home. So then you'll start on the cabin. Do you foresee the day where you are buying a home a year to flipping it, you know?
I don't know about, we've talked about flipping. I don't like the idea of trying to make as much money as you can out of, just by making cosmetic updates and making something look better. I like actually going into a place and really improving it, improving the function of it and the experience of actually being there. With this cabin in the Palisades, we want to go through, redo the whole thing, and we actually want to rent it out as an Airbnb. I think something like that fits a little bit better, but who knows what we'll end up doing. I like that just because then other people, we have so many people who message and say, I wish I could, come and live with you. This gives people an opportunity to at least be in one of our spaces,
Yeah, and we do have the opportunity to go into other people's homes. A few times a year, sponsors will have us kind of do a big giveaway of, we'll redo last year we redid a kitchen in Baltimore, and we did it in 3 days, and it was hard.
You all did all the work.
It ended up being a complete gut as well, which we weren't expecting. So
You had
they-
to gut the whole thing and build it in 3 days.
Yeah.
Did you sleep?
He did not sleep the last night.
The last night I just, all the way through.
Yeah,
just had to do it.
I was pregnant at the time, so I had to sit down a little more frequently.
Your ankles were a little...
Like this.
That's cool. What would you say to people out there watching that are like, man, I wish I could quit my job and do my dream? And
I would say start doing your dream.
Yeah, maybe hold on to the job for a little bit.
Hold on
Just
to your
start,
job.
start doing
But
the dream.
start doing your dream now. When I started writing and fixing up our house so many years ago, my intention was never, man, I just want Chris to quit his job and stay at home with me. It was just, I wanted to do this. And I think that's the beauty of, dreams. Like, you don't have to wait to do a dream like starting a website or fixing up your house. Like, just start doing it now. And I think if you're passionate about it and you consistently do it, I think maybe one day you will get to that point.
I think there's also this idea of, us being married, and I could tell that this was something that was really important to her. So even though I was tired, supporting her in that, and she always supported me in my career goals. When I got a job opportunity in Utah, she moved without a question. And then when, we were tiling the backsplash in our kitchen in Utah.
It was marble.
It was marble. It was beautiful. We were tiling it in tears because I had just been given another job.
And we were
moving. So we were giving up all of that stuff. And so she was always supportive of me. And I felt like, there was no plans of it going anywhere or becoming anything, but I at least knew that it was something that was important to her. And I think that's something that, especially if you're married, is always supporting somebody in the dreams that they're pursuing, and do what you can to help them realize those, because you don't know what it actually can turn into.
there's a lot of couples that do, cute couples, attractive couples that do blogs and have websites and maybe even have shows. How would you say you guys are different than the others? What sets you apart?
Probably not as good.
I guess everyone has a different style, and I think people resonate, audiences resonate with different styles. And so we are not the farmhouse shabby chic style, which a lot of people like. We're more modern, traditional. We have a really big focus on family-friendly interiors, and a lot of people think that means
Kid-friendly.
kid-friendly, locks on all the cabinets, and I do believe in baby proofing, but I don't think a family-friendly home with kids needs to always look like that kids own the home. And so we love sharing interiors that we have 3 small children, our kids are happy and safe in our house, and not only does it function for our kids, but it looks good for the adults. And so that's kind of our focus and maybe what sets us apart a little.
ChrisLovesJulia.com.
Yep.
Instagram,
Same thing.
Facebook,
Same thing.
YouTube.
Same thing.
Go to your website,
Chris Loves
basically, and
Julia,
I'm
yep.
sure there's links to all of that. And if there's a book or any other future projects in the future, let us know.
Okay.
And for those of you looking to improve your house, here's a good resource right here in our own backyard. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.
East Idaho Newsmakers is brought to you by the Bank of Commerce, your bank of a lifetime.